on.
Great, super. Well, welcome, ladies. So let's close our eyes and let's visualize ourselves each in our own space this morning, sitting in a room where you have the space to invite in other women into your circle. And let's imagine this morning that you're, excuse me, you're inviting in friends of yours, ladies that may or may not be on this call, but that are friends of yours and women you'd like to include and that you do include as part of your circle. And invite them to sit and join. And then start picturing the women that are on our call and in our circle, in our Sangha, and imagine them joining and sitting and adding to the circle. And feeling it as each woman joins, feeling the thread that is this circle and this Sangha growing and deepening and strengthening. And see the circle expanding, the energy expanding. And invite in another woman that is a friend of yours that hasn't joined yet. Invite women that you know that are just acquaintances and invite them to be part of our energetic circle. And then open your heart and invite women you don't even know. Invite women from your community and from the city around you and from our state and from our country and from other countries. Invite all women to join us in bringing their differences and their experiences and their vitality and their love and their compassion to join ours. And feeling the infinite nature of our circle, connecting to the women from all around the world that are hoping for the same things we're hoping for peace and love and compassion. And feeling their energy surge through you and around our circle. And giving thanks for the beauty of the divine feminine, for the way we express ourselves into the world and what we bring to the healing of this planet, and how we're claiming that truth. And grasping the hand of the woman on either side of you, just a small squeeze to let her know that you're present and available and willing to take this journey with her.
And then let go of the hand to the left and the right and bring your hands into prayer pose. And feel yourself amongst the circle. And for those who just came on, please make sure that you mute yourself before we tune in. And we take a deep inhalation. Inhale and exhale. You can keep your eyes closed. Just rest your hands onto your knees, palms facing down. Chin goes towards your chest. Right ear slowly towards your right shoulder, and then roll your head back. Left ear, left shoulder, chin to chest. And just go in a circular motion. You might hear some cracking, that's all right. Just make sure there's no pain. Inhaling up, exhaling down. When you inhale, you want to arch your spine just slightly. Open up a little bit more the front of your body. Being present to the fullness of your breath or the lack of. And just being present to it. Is it hard to breathe all the way deep down? Or do I breathe down to my solar plexus but not any further? I'm just paying attention to it. And gently reverse the direction. You're coming into the center. I want you to bring your right arm up. Hold on to your right wrist. Your right palm is facing forward, all fingers touch. And then you lean slowly over to your left side. Just imagine you're stuck between two walls. You're not leaning forward, nor do you lean back. And you just stay here. Keep your right sit bone connected to the chair or the ground you're sitting on. Just breathe deeply into your right side. Open up a little bit more. You can pull gently on your right wrist. Last 2 deep breaths. And then we come into center. We switch our wrists. We go to the other side. Imagine somebody's pulling you on your fingertips consistently. Stimulating our gallbladder meridian. Last 3 deep breaths. Inhale and slowly come to center. Interlace your fingers behind your neck, palms facing upward. Inhale here, exhale, extend your arms all the way. Inhale back behind your neck, exhale, and keep your head up. That's important. Yeah, you will feel a little stretch there. Have the tip of your thumbs touch. Stimulating your lung meridian, especially. Last 3. And And then stay in the upward posture. Keep your arms up. Tip of your thumbs continue to touch. Close your eyes. Long, deep breath. Reach up a little higher while you're dropping your shoulders. Yeah, so they are not crunched up towards your ears. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, have the palms face your head. And then start big rotations. Inhaling when you arch, exhale when you round, yeah? All breath, let it be through your nostrils right now. Feel solid, connected to the chair, the ground beneath you, while you're moving just through your upper torso. Engaging your spine, arching and rounding. And sure enough, we will reverse the direction, going to the other side. So stabilize your earth and water element today, yeah? Which is at home, at your first energy center, at your perineum, your sacrum going down into your legs, and then your water center, your second energy center. Reproductive organs, bladder, kidneys, they're all associated with it. Good, last 3 rotations. Good, inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale, sweep through your auric field. Have the middle fingers touch the ground or just hang in air. And then inhale, have the back of your hands touch. Exhale down. Inhale, exhale, increase the pace now. Strong breath through your nostrils. Emphasis is on your exhalation. You're stimulating right now your ether element by touching, if you can, something with your middle finger. And you're activating the fire within you. Good, last 10. Inhale up, have the back of your hands touch. And exhale, come into Namaskar, prayer pose in front of your heart center. Last posture, bring your hands around your ankle in the front or on your knees when you sit on a chair, and you're just arching and rounding your spine. Inhale forward, exhale back. Just a few times, because we will sit a lot for the remainder of our time together. So just bring some fluidity in your spine. Last 10. Good, and we inhale, we come up sitting straight, we're closing our eyes, we're resting our hands onto our knees, palms facing upward. And take 3 deep breaths. Inhale through your nostril, exhale, open mouth. Good. And then Nirmala will take it from here.
Thank you, Siddhi. Before I begin, I want to let you know that Miss Siddhi is offering a beautiful cleanse, an organ cleanse that is coming up the end of this month. And if you would just take a little time, Siddhi, to just give a slight overview for any, and maybe give, I don't know, something, a contact or something in the chat section so people could inquire if they had more questions.
So I've been teaching cleanses for over 20 years here in Santa Barbara and actually all over the planet here. So, and what I like is with the cleanse is that we really relate to our organs as our friends and our lovers for life. Yeah, because they stay with us until we move on. So, but we don't have often this relationship. Yeah, we take the body so for granted. So, and the intent of my cleanses is to learn to really relate to the organs, their emotions, what they need. Yeah, what they need to support you. So, and it's we just do 7 days, and we meet every day for an hour and a half on Zoom. But the Zoom session is available for the entire day, so people can watch it whenever they want to. So there will be a lot of movement, yeah, and you just move to your own ability. But you will learn what kind of movements are stimulating the liver or the kidneys, your spleen, your gallbladder, so that you can help these organs to get decongested. And then there's a diet with it, and I'm not uptight about the diet. So I just give guidelines, and then you feel into what's right for your body. What can you take? What doesn't work for you? So, but there are, like no alcohol, no sugar, no drugs, recreational drugs. So it's actually a very simple process, and you can make it to your liking. But I think the beauty is that you really relate to your body. It's my intent that you fall in love with it and treat it like that. And I think that's where I leave it. And you can find it on the toolbox. Yeah, so I posted it on the toolbox. There's a flyer and how you can connect with me over my email, and then I will send you more information.
And just share the date, Siddhi.
We start on the 27th of this month on the full moon, because it's easier for us to fast when the moon starts to wane. And then we go through the 5th. Is it the 5th? Yeah, I think so. Okay, that's it. You are.
I know several of you from Spirit House have done cleanses with Siddhi. And personally, I'm really happy we're going to be on Zoom, because in person, when she takes you for an hour and a half of her cleansing, it's really intense. But I mean, fabulous way to sort of reset for the year, reset your system. And as she said, come into a different relationship with your body. So if any of you are interested, please take advantage of this great opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Siddhi. So today, today I would like to talk about, first I'd like to talk about choice. The greatest gift and the greatest power that we have in our life is choice. We have the capacity to choose how we respond in any situation. We have the ability to decide how we're going to meet the situation. Are we going to meet it with love or meet it with fear? We have the opportunity to choose what our disposition is going to be each day. We have the opportunity to decide that the outside world is not going to dictate how it is that we are experiencing our world, that our internal life is going to determine that. And so what does that look like? How do we fully access these choices? I hear people say often, I didn't have a choice. It was just so overwhelming or so unpleasant or so whatever. I didn't have a choice, but we always have a choice. No matter how difficult, how disappointing, how aggressive, how painful a situation, and we still have a choice to decide how we want to interact with that situation. And so what is the what is the key to accessing our ability to make choices? And from my perspective, there's really only one way in, and the way in is through surrender. There is no, for me, there is no other way but to let go. And what I know about surrender is that it requires, as Anand would say, it requires a strong spine and a soft heart. Surrender, I know that surrender is liberation. I've experienced that when I surrender, that I have a sense of freedom and a soaring that makes it lightens up my whole body. It is as though I'm giving away bags full of unnecessary emotions and responses, and they're just no longer present in my life. Surrender lifts lifts the veil to the presence of grace. If our interest is to experience grace in our life, the easiest way to have that be always present is to surrender. Surrender is not abdication. It's not an inaction. So many times people will say, well, we're trained and we're taught to be empowered and to take responsibility in the moment and to have action. And as we learned in the Buddhist Eightfold Path, right action sometimes is inaction. Oftentimes it's inaction or silence. It's being present, bringing the fullness of who we are to be present for the situation, but it's not emoting. It is as powerful to be silent in a situation as it is to speak words. So it's not an inaction, it's a selected action. So again, we have the choice to determine in that moment, what is the selected action that we want to employ for the situation at hand. We have to release our mind. The most critical juncture of this process between surrender and choice and surrender is releasing our mind from this constant loop, this loop of replaying a situation, judging how we responded or how the situation turned out, and then replaying it again, and then having a different ending to it. It might have turned out this way if I'd done that. I might have had this different experience. That replay and that loop is craziness. Whatever has happened in the back of our experience, the background of our experience has happened. Now we're into a new experience and we have the choice to do a new one differently. But we have to release that chatter that goes on in our mind about judging ourselves, of how we have responded and how we have behaved. Surrender is learning to trust our instincts and our unspoken intelligence. We have an innate intelligence that is operating from all of our organs. As Siddhi mentions our organs, it's coming from all of them, the fight or flight, the heart space, all of our organs, and our entire system is contributing to how it is that we can instinctually know who we are in every moment, and how it is that we will make our choices and how we will respond out of those choices. So being in contact with and in relationship with the entirety of ourselves is paramount. If we don't bring all of ourselves to each situation, how are we going to have a response that's in the proportion to what we want it to be? How are we going to live from love and not fear? If we're only bringing part of ourselves, we're more likely to be responding out of fear. We have to learn to trust that we have instincts that support the choices that we can make that give us freedom, that liberate us. There is nothing more empowering than believing and trusting that you can respond and make choices that will liberate you to do whatever you want in the world. And I don't mean doing it in what kind of job I have or what kind of relationship I have. It's what's happening inside of yourself and how you're bringing that to the world. It's inside out, not outside in. And every time we try to construct the outside to be the solution to whatever is not working inside, we find that it falls short. The surrender is an internal, not an external process. Surrender is believing that there's a natural order to the universe, even if we can't see it. And trusting that we're part of this natural order. We're part of the stream of creation. We have to learn to trust that. And the only way we learn to do that is that we have to be in awareness so that we notice when it happens organically. And then we say to ourselves, look, I didn't know how this was going to turn out, but I trusted that it would turn out favorably. And when I released my sense of control over it, look what happened. And we build trust by recognizing that it's happening all the time around us. If we're wandering through life blinded by the things that are coming at us, and we're not in awareness and in self-observation and self-witness, we're not going to see when the universe is creating its own joy and creating its own stream of consciousness and creating its own rhythm that we are naturally a part of. Surrender is not necessarily spiritual. There's a lot of discussion of surrender in all of the spiritual books that have been written through the ages. You can Google any tradition and the word surrender, and there'll be many, many passages. But it doesn't need to be a spiritual choice. It can just be, it could be an atheist choice. Do you want to live your life being persecuted by the outside world? Or do you want to take choice and liberation as part of your power, your personal power? And that's not spiritual. That's just living as a human being on this planet. If you want to tether your surrender to God and to the higher power, that language is beautiful. There are many teachings about surrender as a religious experience. And you can jump into surrender through that lens if that lens is useful to you. But it doesn't have to be done through that lens. As a human being walking on this planet and contributing to the community that we are as in humanity, surrender is an important piece of that. As a purely secular participant in being in this human form. Surrender is related to control. So there's the amount of control we endeavor to hold in our lives is proportionate to our level of surrender. The less we surrender, the less control we feel. The more we surrender, the more control we feel. I know that's not intuitive. We're taught intuitively, if you are more in control, then things are going to work out better. There's no reason to surrender. Why would you give up control? But true control comes out of surrender. When we stop looking at life as a something we have to solve and piece together in a certain way, and we allow it to expand into whatever situation is going to be, rather than controlling it, attempting to control it, we feel more empowered. It's not powerful when you try to hold the world together under your own idea of what it should look like, and it constantly fails because our lives are in movement, they're fluid all the time. And the number of people and situations that are coming and going that are out of our control are much more numerous than those that are in our control. And when we surrender to that movement, we feel this enormous capacity to choose and be free. We're freed of all of those concerns and worries and pitfalls and failings that happen when we're trying to control basically other people so that the situations, including other people, turn out the way we want. If we just let them turn out the way they turn out, there's a sense, you have a sense of detachment. This is the detachment we're talking about when we talk about it through the Buddhist tradition. It isn't about not being present. Surrender is not about inaction. You still have a job. We have a job to show up and be willing to meet life as it comes. And there are pieces of it that are ours, always. And it's our job to show up and do our piece. But I will venture a guess that most of us overjob. We do that which is not ours to do because we want control and we want things to look and be a certain way. So the control that we're enforcing is creating a whole different situation than the one that was naturally evolving. Because it didn't look the way we wanted it to look. The pieces weren't coming together the way we wanted. We exert more control. And the more control you exert, We know this if you're a parent and you raise children. The more control you exert over them, the more they squeeze out. And the more you become reasonable about what's expected in a moment and what is this situation call for, and you're reasonable about the discussion and the experience of it, and you share that with other people. So everybody has a piece of a situation, not just us. We're not the only ones in a situation. And the more we surrender, the more control we feel, because we understand that in our internal process is not related to the external circumstance of our control. So internally, we can be joyful all the time, even though the world around us is holding many challenges. It's always going to. Do we want to wait until there's some level of perfection or some level of agreement in accordance with what we want, and then we'll feel joy? If that's how we do it, we're going to be pushing joy out and pushing joy out and pushing joy out. We're always waiting for things to be in a certain way before we can feel joyful. Control and worry are exhausting to our body and our spirit. Headaches, backaches, digestion issues, anxiety, relationship stress. These are all outcomes of control. Surrender cultivates energy and inspiration and peaceful sleep and lower stress. We notice more of what's going on pleasantly around us rather than what's not working. When we're in surrender, we start to soften the lens at which we're seeing the world. And when we soften that lens, everything has this really beautiful glow, even when it's difficult and unpleasant. It doesn't have to pull us into a place of demise where everything else is affected by that one situation. So what gets in the way of our practicing of surrender? Most of us in this Western philosophy, we've grown up with the motto of never give up. Just keep trying, keep pushing until you make it. Find a path or make one. Keep pushing until you make things turn out the way you had anticipated they should be. It's better if it's this way. And I'm going to keep pushing and I'm not going to give up. Persistence there's a belief that persistence is a sign of intelligence. And I'm going to tell you that persistence is not a sign of intelligence. Discernment is a sign of intelligence. So when we use discernment to decide what it is when we should give up, then we're using all of our sensibilities. We're not just in control. Control is seen as power. Power is surrender. Power is not control. So we've placed the wrong emphasis in the wrong place in our culture and in many places in the world. We see that in big systems. Anything that develops into a big system, whether it's politics or religion, anything that has hierarchy and layers to it, we start to see power and control. Our ultimate liberation is to not deal with control, to not have control be our vehicle to creating the world we want. Surrender is our vehicle. And surrender, again, is not inaction. Surrender is not having an attachment to the outcome of a situation. So we surrender. When we surrender, we allow that there may be a multitude of opportunities for a situation to resolve itself totally outside of what we would have expected. People rise to the occasion when you leave spaciousness for them to do so. When you exert control, when we exert control, we take away spaciousness. So the journey towards surrender is a discipline, just like everything else Siddhi and I have spoken about. It's a discipline. How do you want to discipline your body, your mind, your spirit, your life without controlling it? And the discipline is quieting the mind. It's simplifying your life. It's expecting to see grace. Expect that you'll see grace in your life. It's not the exception, it's the norm. moving with consciousness and directness. Be direct in your workings and tendings with other people, not controlling, but being direct. Embrace forgiveness. Embrace forgiveness of yourself. We're working towards all of this. We're a work in progress. Start small. If you're going to surrender and it's difficult for you, take on just one aspect of your life, one person, one situation, just one thing, and try it. See how surrendering and moving your energy back from it and allowing it to unfold changes the outcome. Just try it. But you have to be in awareness to notice what changes. And when you start seeing the success of that and you start seeing the beauty and you start feeling the liberation of not having to be in control and your body lets go and you breathe into your life rather than contracting into your life, then you're going to want to do it more. So this week, let's take a look at one thing or two things that you can use as a jumping off for how am I going to incorporate more surrender into my life and live into the grace that's already present. And let's see how that works.
Thank you, Nanda. Good. I posted into the chat the Ishvara Pranidhara. Yeah, so that's a Sanskrit word. And we can mentally recite, I surrender to the divine. I leave this really always up to you. You need to resonate with whatever mantra you're using. Pranidhana, Ishvara Pranidhana. Yeah, so there's a nice ring to it. There's also a mudra for it that helps us to surrender, to help us to let go, and even to sleep better. Yeah, so which is important. So I want you right now to just have the tip of your thumbs touch the tip of the middle and your ring fingers. Then you turn your palms upward and you connect the tip of your index fingers and you connect the tips of your pinkies. Yeah, and the middle fingers and thumbs and ring fingers are close to each other. So you just want to move this mudra around so the palms are facing upward. And you hold this mudra at the level of your solar plexus. So just turn it around. If your fingers up, your index fingers and your pinkies are pointing down to the earth. Yeah, there we got it. Good. So just close your eyes for a moment and feel into it. This is a beautiful mudra, finger position, to reduce stress and anxiety. And as Nirmala said, if we are in stress and anxiety, we are definitely trying to control. Yeah, and to surrender, we need to let go of this. So this mudra can help you. And then if you mentally recite Ishvara Pranidhana, so then you call to surrender to the divine. So you can also mentally recite, I surrender to the divine. And if that doesn't work, surrender to your God or your goddess, whatever you believe in. But allow the mudra and your mantra to allow for the body to settle, everything inside. Allow for your mind to become more peaceful. Override the existing programs in your mind with a mental recitation. Pranidhana, Ishvara Pranidhana. Continue sitting with the mudra, but release the mantra. Just be present how naturally your breath is expanding. And how your exhalation brings you more into your body. And the deeper your breath, the more your nervous system will relax. And when your nervous system is relaxing, your organs can relax. And when we relax, we can surrender. Surrendering to that which is. And then we gently let go of the mudra, bringing our hands into prayer pose. Tuning out with Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Maybe use this week until next Saturday to look into the areas of our life where we can surrender just a little bit more. Wishing you a beautiful week. We see you next time, next Saturday. Namaste. Lots of love to all of you.